Good morning, Mount Olive Church and friends of Mount Olive Church. Andrew Short here with you. So on this Saturday, hopefully you are having a good start to your weekend. If you're a teacher or employee of the school system, you're starting your really long, week-long Thanksgiving break. So you're definitely thankful for that. So going to do a quick devotion here this morning. Going to try to on Brother TJ's message from last Sunday, and just want to echo our sentiments from last week and some of the guys, some of the pastors have thanked us for the pastor appreciation stuff, and we truly do thank the Lord for our pastors and what an awesome bunch we've got, and we're just so thankful for them. Let me share my screen here, I guess, with you. Probably a good idea, but hopefully you've had a chance to hear the other devotions this week. As always, something we all say, but we truly do hope that there's something that I try to start my day with, and I hope you do too. It's definitely a great way to start your day. So we're going to talk about perspective. Some other people, Brother TJ started off on Monday with this. His devotion was awesome. His message on Sunday was great. The devotion on Monday was just an awesome little 5-minute nugget. If you've not had a chance to watch that, go back. Had some great ideas in there. And so I want to talk about perspective for just a couple minutes here. And something I struggle with, goodness gracious, I don't know if you do or not. I know I do. In the line of work I'm in with teaching and bus driving, and we'll get to a bus driving story here in just a second, but I so easily lose perspective on what really matters sometimes. And usually a few hours later, maybe the next day at worst, I'll think to myself, man, what was I thinking? That was such a little thing. But I had a picture of a school bus here. I thought that was a great picture from the internet there. He's got a mustache. This is me every morning and every evening on bus 85. But a great story on perspective that kind of hit me as I was driving the school bus this morning. Then we'll get into some verses here in just a second. But I've always had this complaint, and somewhat justified, but I've had this complaint of when I'm driving the bus and I've got a little kid, a small, I'm not talking high schoolers here, I'm talking pre-K, kindergarten kids, and I go to drop them off and there's nobody there to get them. It just drives me insane. It still does to some degree. And I pull up to the stop and there's nobody there, and I've got to go by. And if you work for Wise Primary School in the office, you have heard me fuss about this already this year. But so anyway, when I was first bus driving, I may have been worse. I would get aggravated. I would holler on the radio about so and so's not here, and I can't believe they're not here. And so one day I'm driving out through Duncan Gap. At that time, my bus route went out that way. And I'm driving out through there, and probably a day or two before, I fussed about this family not being there to pick up their kid, and with no thought to why it is they weren't there, but just my perspective was I was mad because it was going to cost me 45 seconds, and plus the kids were upset. But so anyway, I'm driving out through, then I hear over the radio bus whatever it was to J.W. Adams Elementary School, and sometimes we pick up their radio too, and said, yeah, just want to let you guys know Spencer and Everly Short's ride is not here to get them. So here I am at the end of Duncan Gap, and I fussed for weeks, and the people who were supposed to pick up my daughters, Spencer and Everly, my daughters, weren't there to get them. And so their bus driver, Brian Sturgill, was much more gracious and did a much better job of handling it. He ends up just kind of consoling them and hauling them around and gets them back, takes them back up there, makes sure somebody's there to get them. And so my perspective instantly changed, and it's still bad sometimes, but it instantly changed when I was on the other side of the thing. And so how true is that in our lives when we have this perspective of these earthly things, and I get so burdened down and so focused on these little things in my life that I can't have this eternal perspective of what truly matters. And so here's some verses. Brother TJ was in 2 Corinthians 4:18 there for a little bit on Sunday, but I picked up the other three verses. Verse 15 says, "For all things are for your sake." So think about the perspective Paul is talking about in these verses here. "For all things are for your sakes, that the abundant grace might through the thanksgiving of many redound to the glory of God." Of course, we're coming up on Thanksgiving week here, and so let's focus more on that grace, more on our God and his glory. Verse 16, "For which cause we faint not, but through our outward man perish, yet the inward man is renewed day by day. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment." By the way, Paul, who may be in prison at this point, right? Cold, dark, wet prison, not on some nice warm bus, aggravated because somebody's costing him 15 minutes, right? "For our light affliction." it's not a big deal, right? It's really not. Most of the stuff we go through, and most of the stuff I go through and get aggravated about on a daily basis is light affliction, which is but for a moment worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. Man, that's my prayer. Lord, let me focus more. Let me have a better perspective on an eternal weight of glory, right? Verse 18, while we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen, for the things which are seen are temporal. I use the bus driving story there, but it's different in your life, right? The things we see are temporal, they're temporary. Even in the worst of them in this life are temporary, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Lord, help us as a church, help me as an individual, help our family as a family to focus more on things that truly matter, things that are eternal in nature. Help me focus on eternal things, the things that are unseen. Clear my vision when looking at my circumstances. Don't let me get clouded on bus 85 by the fact that I'm going to be 15 seconds later. Let me see, maybe this is struggling single mom who can't get there because she's working a job and doesn't have a car. All right. Wake me up to that. Clear my vision when I see that at circumstances of others. When looking at my circumstances, clear my vision also. And then, there was a song a while back. I can't remember the exact lyrics for the exact song, but it talked about having the eyes of God, looking through your eyes to see circumstances. If I can only see these circumstances through the eyes of God. And that's my prayer today for me. That's my prayer today for you, Mount Olive Church, is that we can see our circumstances and the circumstances of others through a different perspective, through an eternal perspective. So hopefully you got something out of that today. As we go into this Thanksgiving week, let's have that perspective of Thanksgiving. Let's have that perspective of, knowing what truly matters, and as we're with our families and all of that. So we look forward to that. We look forward to seeing you at church tomorrow. Hopefully you'll join us, Mount Olive. Come see us. We love you guys. Have a good rest of your weekend. See you.